Hey there, thanks for joining me. Today's a special day. I'm finally giving you a full tour of my comic book room. This is my 120 square foot sanctuary, and I can't wait to show you around. Full disclosure though, I faced some technical challenges filming today's video, and I had to reshoot it because I tried walking around with one of these clip-on mics, and just between you and me, they suck. I don't recommend these. Anybody's thinking about buying one of these, don't do it. So I ended up going back and reshooting it and doing it with a voiceover instead. Also, this is a small space and the lighting isn't great, so I apologize in advance for any glares or shadows or anything weird like that. That being said though, I hope you enjoy it. I'm Mark, and this is Comic Book Revival. Okay, here we are. Now, we're in a basement, and the stairway is a little too narrow to film in, and the lighting's not great, so I'm going to try and show you what's on the walls, but I promise you what's on the bottom of the room is going to more than make up for what you can't see here. Every inch of these walls tells a story, from original artwork to signed prints, and of course, plenty of comics. Here's a 360-degree view just to see what we're going to be looking at. Let's start with my facsimile wall. These are all reprint editions, and I've mentioned my love for facsimile comics in the past, but let me tell you why I love them. To me, they're simply the perfect way to experience classic comics without breaking the bank. You get every detail, right down to the original ads and letter columns. Plus you can actually read them without having to worry about damaging an expensive book. This is my gallery. Let's talk about these. Starting at the top, we have Amazing Spider-Man by Greg Horn, a print from the Niagara Falls Comic Con program cover, signed by Ken Lashley. Ahsoka by Greg Horn. A very cool Spidey sketch cover print by Jeff Tellez. A 5x7 piece by Derek Loffman. Batgirl and Wonder Woman, both by Artgerm. A print from the cover of Immortal Hulk number 38 by Alex Ross. Frederick Cooper's tribute to An American Werewolf in London. And aside from how amazing it is, this piece is very special to me for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's the only original piece of art that I own, and it was given to me by the son and daughter-in-law of the artist, a man named Terry Reed. Sadly, I learned recently that Terry passed away last year. I want to offer my sincere condolences to the entire Reed family. I also learned recently that despite his incredible talent, Terry never really considered himself to be an artist. He was a very humble man. And to that, all I can say is, Terry, I respectfully disagree, because this piece is one of the crown jewels of my collection, and I'm honored to display it. One of the things I love about this piece is the use of contrast and negative space, and the half-face effect gives it a particularly haunting look without overselling anything. So what the heck is going on over here? This would be my Punisher wall, I guess. Everything you see here is based on the cover of Amazing Spider-Man 129, which was the first appearance of the Punisher. And this is literally decades of artists paying tribute to this iconic cover. I'm not really sure how it all started, but I found myself buying homage variants, and I guess it just kind of got away from me. And these are some of my signed comics. Now, these are all really cool, but I think my favorite of these has to be Infinity Gauntlet number 1. This was pure magic. I got this book triple signed all in one day a few years back at Niagara Falls Comic Con. The late, great George Perez, Jim Starlin, and Joe Rubenstein. What a day. And the story behind this Stan Lee signed comic is pretty wild. He actually signed it twice because his pen ran out the first time through. This was actually gifted to me by a former coworker. So shout out to Brandon if you're watching. Thanks for the amazing gift, man. Not gonna lie, these are my pride and joy. Original printings of key issues, or I should say mostly original printings of key issues, with a few personal favorites mixed in. I say mostly original because some of these are high-end, high-quality replicas. They're a little bit different from the facsimile editions on the other wall because these are printed by the Folio Society, which is a publisher based out of the UK. They specialize in collector's editions of some of the world's most celebrated books. Recently, they teamed up with Marvel and DC to produce some deluxe collector sets, which also include facsimile comics. These are probably the most authentic reprints that you can find on the market today, right down to the trim size and the 4-color art palette. I'll include a link in the description so you can check them out for yourself. These comics are in chronological order, and we're in the Silver Age here. I just love the covers of this era. Artists like Nick Cardy, Jack Kirby, John Romita Sr., Marie Severin, John Buscema, they were all in their prime. Now this section ends with Amazing Spider-Man 100 from 1970, and the Bronze Age begins on the other side. These comics run from the 1970s into the 80s and right up to the modern age. Lots of keys and first appearances on this side of the wall, too many to mention individually. The cool thing is I can tell you the story behind every single book here. Everything in my collection has earned its place. And this is my horror corner, my second biggest obsession right behind comics. I love horror movies, I love horror comics, especially these pre-code comics from the 1950s. This stuff is pure gold. They just don't make them like this anymore. The artwork, the stories. These are also reprints, which came out in the 1970s, so they're still pretty old. And all of the signed stuff you see here is from Frightmare in the Falls, which is an annual horror convention that happens right here in my city. I have some NECA figures. And some collected editions of some EC comics. Over here is a big Thor book celebrating the work of Jack Kirby, and a facsimile edition of All New Collector's Edition number 56, also known as the issue where Muhammad Ali fought Superman. These shelves are home to my figures and prop replicas, as well as some other books. I have a classic Batman figure, Deadpool's MP5K replica from the comics, some Folio Society collector's sets, Obi-Wan's lightsaber from episode 3, a Dr. Aphra figure, Grogu, Han Solo's blaster replica, this awesome Marvel Zombies pop of Black Panther, and I have some Kiss pops to go with my Marvel Super Special number 1, some more books. These are some loose comics that I just don't have room for on my wall. Why don't we take a closer look at those? Okay, so here we are. These are my loose comics. Most of the stuff in the front is stuff that I'm currently reading. Epitaphs from the Abyss, Cruel Universe, and Frankenstein are 3 series that I'm into right now. I also have some older stuff. These are some action figure variants I picked up recently, which are very cool. They really take me back to when I was a kid. And I'm planning to put these up on the wall at some point. A lot of Spider-Man, a lot of Black Cat stuff. That's an Italian language Spider-Man comic. That's a French one. I really like those foreign language comics. It's just kind of a quirky thing that I like to collect. Some more Punisher variants. Amazing Spider-Man spoiler variant from last year. A lot of variants. You're going to see a lot of variants in this pile because, like I said before, I kind of got sucked into that trend of buying exclusive variants for a while. I really like this Wonder Woman cover. Very cool. This is an Elseworld story of what if Robin had lived, what if he had survived the attack from the Joker back in '88. Some more facsimiles that I just didn't have room to put up on my wall. Some very cool stuff. It's just about finding space. Sometimes I'll rotate comics just to change things up a little bit. I collect anything with Niagara Falls on the cover. I'm from Niagara Falls, and I get kind of a kick out of seeing it portrayed in a comic book. Big fan of Dr. Aphra as well. She's my favorite Star Wars character who hasn't left the comics yet. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before we see her in live action. It's a variant of the first appearance of Harley Quinn in the comics. And that's pretty much it. I need to take a moment to show you Frankie's Girl, a portrait illustrated by artist Frederick Cooper. I may be biased because Bride of Frankenstein is one of my favorite films, but I mean, come on. Look at this. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to let the art speak for itself. And finally, the centerpiece of my room and my collection, both figuratively and literally. This is where I keep my hardcover collection, my omnibuses, graphic novels, deluxe editions, my graded comics. You might notice I have mostly Marvel books because that's what I tend to gravitate towards, but I am trying to branch out and get into other publishers and some non-superhero stuff. Have I read them all? Absolutely not. And that's the beauty of it. There is nothing more exciting than having a library of unread stories waiting for you. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next time.